Friday night, I was talking about SmackDown on YouTube. There was also the WWE Hall of Fame. There were a bunch of independent shows, but there was also a Ring of Honor pay-per-view, and a pretty damn good one, too, especially on paper. Ring of Honor had its Supercard of Honor show out in LA. A very good show. Nigel McGuinness made a surprise return on the pre-show, coming out to do commentary with Caprice Coleman and Ian Riccaboni. It sounds like it's not a situation where he has signed a contract yet, or is going to be a constant presence on the show. But if he wants to come back, Tony Khan, I'm sure, is going to want to keep him around. He was very happy, very excited to have Nigel back. Nigel was a part of the heart and soul of that original Ring of Honor brand. So it was great to see him back. You know, NXT commentary has not been the same since he and Mauro Ranallo were replaced. So that was very cool to see him back in ROH. Fightful said the original plan for the show before he got hurt was for Will Ospreay to wrestle Takeshita. And I kind of wish I didn't know that, because now I'm pissed that we didn't get to see it. But we got a pretty good match with Takeshita beating Willie Mack on the pre-show. As far as the main card goes, Vikingo and Commander opened the show for the AAA Mega title, and it was exactly what you would expect from these two. They delivered as advertised. It was a total stunt show. But as that goes, you won't find two guys better at it these days than these two. And Vikingo, of course, walks out the winner because he ain't losing that AAA Mega title. He's got a rematch he's got to have at some point with Kenny Omega. Can't take the title off him now. The Embassy retained their six-man titles over AR Fox, Blake Christian, and Metalik, which surprised me, given all the news about Brian Cage. I don't know that his contract status is any different than what we've read about, but he won the match. Not only did his team win, he got the winning fall, and he is still a champion in Ring of Honor, so obviously he's sticking around at least for a little while longer. Samoa Joe retained his television title over Mark Briscoe. I think this was probably the most shocking outcome of any match on the show for a lot of people. I don't see it as a situation where, Tony Khan made a big mistake, and what are you doing? I think it was done for a reason. I think that there are bigger plans for Mark Briscoe. And the plan that I had talked about weeks ago had nothing to do with the television title. It was him trying to go after the Ring of Honor World Championship, which is the title that Jay Briscoe held on two different occasions. Claudio is the heel champion right now. And I think the bigger story is Mark Briscoe not going after Joe for the TV title. It's going after Claudio for the world title. So I do think that this is part of a bigger plan here. So I don't have a problem with that. We had Tanahashi against Daniel Garcia. This was added at the last minute. Only a few days before the show. Hiroshi Tanahashi beating Daniel Garcia. This was a good match, as you would expect. I know Tanahashi is a lot older. He's not the Tanahashi he was 10 years ago, but it's still Tanahashi. And he still knows how to go in there and work a good match. The Lucha Brothers are the new Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions. They even had new belts made. They had new belts made across the board. New world title, too. But new tag team titles. Hopefully they let Mark keep the old ones. I think that would be appropriate. But the Lucha Bros win the titles. This, unfortunately, was marred by a horrific injury towards the end of the match. Like, right before the finish, in fact. Dante Martin of Top Flight was injured on a very dumb spot involving he and Penta. Penta hit a destroyer off of a bridged ladder in the ring through two stacked tables on the floor. Yes, it was very stupid in a weekend that was full of quite a few dumb stunts. But my only hope is that Dante can heal properly and can come back 100%. Because he may not after an injury like this. When he landed, I believe it was his right foot, was twisted in a direction that it should not be twisted in. He suffered a horrific, I assume, ankle break. I don't know if they've officially announced what the injury is, but if you saw it with your own two eyes, it was disgusting, and it sucked the life out of the match for me. Not that there was a whole lot left. Again, this happened towards the finish. But even just looking back on the match now, for all the great stuff we got from these teams, Top Flight, Lucha Bros, Aussie Open, they had a lot of really talented teams in there. Rush and Dralistico. This match now is just marred by this injury. I think it was just it put a real kind of dark cloud over things, sucked the life out of it for me. Happy to see the Lucha Bros, as tag team champions again, this time in Ring of Honor. I think that's great. But, man, that injury was just absolutely disgusting. It reminded me of the Sid Vicious injury in WCW. And that was the worst injury I've ever seen in wrestling. That's what happened to Dante Martin here. And Top Flight, man, they just can't catch a break. They have the worst luck. We had Darius Martin tore his ACL. He was gone for almost a year. He came back. He was involved in a car accident, had nothing to do with any wrestling matches, and so he was out again for many months. And now Dante with this injury, there's no way he's coming back from this injury anytime soon. I don't know how long he's going to be gone for. It will be many, many months before we see him back in the ring. And so Top Flight, it's just one, bad thing after another. I feel bad for both of them. I feel bad for Dante. But yeah, the Lucha Bros are the new tag team champions. We had Katsuyori Shibata challenging Wheeler Yuta for the Pure Championship. This was good. It's just amazing to me to see Shibata back in the ring wrestling matches again. And they even made on commentary, they mocked the fact that, he had his... I always look back at that one item in The Observer when Dave said, it's just the way he wrote it, that when Shibata had that horrible injury in the match with Okada in New Japan that basically ended his career, ended his full-time career, he had to undergo emergency brain surgery. He had like a brain hemorrhage. He could have died. And in The Observer, Meltzer was like, it was so bad they had to take his brain out of his skull. I'm like, what? Did I read that right? I go, Dave, are you serious here, brother? But no, obviously it was a very serious injury, and New Japan would not clear him, and New Japan was not happy when he went into business for himself on, what was it? Was it Wrestle Kingdom? I forgot what show it was. Last year, a year ago, 2 years ago? He went in there. When he got to the ring, he made the announcement, this is not an exhibition. We're doing a match. Well, apparently he didn't tell that to anybody in the back, and they were very unhappy with him about that. So he can't get cleared to have a proper match in New Japan, but he can wrestle elsewhere. And now, not only did he wrestle, he won the championship. He put Yuta down with a sleeper, he hit the PK, and he pinned him to win the Pure title. So this was good. And in the main event, we had Claudio Castagnoli retaining his Ring of Honor World Championship over Eddie Kingston. The fans were totally deflated seeing Mark Briscoe and Eddie Kingston on the same show go in there, challenge for a title, and lose. And they had a very good match. This was a very good main event. We had Shibata coming back out at the end of the show to back up Kingston when it looked like Claudio and Yuta were about to throw down with Eddie, and Eddie was all by himself. Shibata came out, Claudio and Yuta left, and Eddie got on the mic and he made it very clear, in only the way that he can, that this issue with him and Claudio is not over, and he is still going to go after the Ring of Honor World Championship. So, again, a very good show from top to bottom. That Dante Martin injury really, kind of took me out of things there. But one more note on this show. I saw Vladimir the Superfan was in the crowd. In fact, at one point, Mark Briscoe went over and he was hugging Vladimir in the front row. Always good to see Vladimir. The last time I saw Vladimir was in person outside Terminal 5 in August when House of Glory ran there. He came to the show. So Vladimir is in Los Angeles for all of the festivities this weekend. And Mike Johnson of PW Insider is one of Vladimir's best friends. And he posted a very sad update. After talking to him about it, getting his permission to share this, he shared that Vlad has been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. After years, apparently, of doctors trying to figure out what's wrong with him and get an official diagnosis of what these various health issues mean, because he's been dealing with a lot of health issues now. They finally, I guess, just figured out that it is Parkinson's. And for Vlad, his big problem has been his legs are not moving the way that he wants them to. They kind of have a mind of their own. And I guess the reason he gave Mike permission to share this in the first place is because people have seen him around LA at these different wrestling events, and they've spotted him, and they look and see the way he's moving, they think he's drunk. And he wanted people to know, I'm not drunk, I'm not inebriated, I'm just dealing with the effects of a pretty terrible disease, and obviously some days are better than others, but A lot of times it can be hard to control how his body moves. But otherwise, he's doing okay, all things considered. He actually delayed an important surgery that he needs. He pushed it back to next month so that he can be in Los Angeles for WrestleMania weekend because he's a huge wrestling fan. There's a reason why WWE years ago made him the only fan ever to get the designation of Superfan, because that is what he is. And he also told Mike to let people know, because he gets asked this question a lot, no, he doesn't know where his documentary is. Release the damn documentary already. Triple H and Stephanie, they presented this guy with a plaque as the company's first officially recognized superfan, and they announced plans for a documentary about the man's life. This was during night 1 of WrestleMania 37. It's been 2 years. The movie's already finished. It's sitting on a computer somewhere. The trailer for it is still up on WWE's YouTube channel from 2021. And there's been nothing said. There's been no explanation given, apparently to Vlad even himself, about why they decided not to release it. Did they dig up some dirt after the fact that this guy killed 38 people and ate the flesh off their bones or something? I mean, somebody needs to ask Triple H about this at their next post-show press conference. I saw a lot of familiar faces at the press conference last night when the show was over. Maybe one of them can ask Triple H about this. Once this company gets sold, who knows what the hell is going to happen to that thing? I doubt it ever sees the light of day.